Sometimes after someone dies, you start noticing things you never noticed before. Little habits, small gestures, moments that seemed unimportant at the time, but suddenly feel like warnings. My best friend Daniel died 3 weeks ago. Everyone said it was suicide. He fell from the rooftop of a parking garage near downtown. No witnesses, no struggle, no explanations. Just a lifeless body at the bottom of the stairwell. I didn't believe it. Not because I wanted to deny it, but because I knew him. I knew the way he laughed, how he always insisted on ordering the same coffee, how he would tap his pen nervously when he was thinking, how he would sit quietly, staring out the window, like he was waiting for time itself to move differently. Suicide didn't fit him. Not then, not ever. The days after the funeral passed slowly. Work, the quiet of my apartment, the occasional call from family members asking if I was okay. I would tell them I was fine, even as the empty apartment swallowed me whole. And then, 3 nights later, my phone vibrated. It was his number. I froze. At first, I told myself it was a glitch. Maybe someone had taken his old SIM, maybe a delayed message stuck in the system. I opened it. I wasn't alone. The words were short, simple, almost casual. But inside, they hit me like a stone. I stared at the screen for what felt like an hour. My hands shook. My chest tightened in a way I hadn't felt since the funeral. I typed, almost mechanically, "Who is this?" No reply. Minutes passed. Then another message, "Don't trust them." I should have ignored it. I should have thrown the phone across the room. But something kept me staring, scrolling through old chats, memes, late-night conversations, silly arguments, plans we never kept. Every message reminded me of him. Every laugh we shared felt like a ghost haunting the empty apartment. The next night, another message came. "Check the parking garage." I didn't want to. I almost stayed in bed, pretending nothing had happened. Curiosity, that slow-burning thing, wouldn't let me rest. "Which one?" I typed. "Where I died." I remembered the roof. That night, a week before his death, we had sat there, talking about nothing, laughing at things that didn't matter. The city lights stretched below us, distant and cold, and the air had felt heavy but ordinary. I remembered his hands, tapping nervously on the ledge, the way he had frowned at the wind, almost distracted. That night seemed unremarkable. But now, looking back, I saw the little signs I had missed. "Who was with you?" I wrote. The reply made my stomach drop. "You know him." For days, I tried to ignore it. I told myself someone was playing a prank, someone had found his phone, but deep down, I couldn't escape it. I replayed every memory, every joke we ever shared, every moment when he seemed quiet or distracted. And one name kept coming up, uncomfortably clear: Mark. Mark had been there that night, calm when Daniel called him, the last person to leave the rooftop. It made sense, horrible, suffocating sense. The messages didn't stop. Ask him why. I stared at my phone. My body wanted to ignore it. My mind refused. Hours passed, minutes, seconds. Finally, I made a decision. I left my apartment. The streets were quiet. Dim streetlights reflected on wet asphalt. Every shadow seemed alive. Mark lived 20 minutes away. I kept walking slowly, deliberately, checking every corner, every passing car. Every time a distant footstep echoed behind me, I jumped. My mind raced with every possibility. I remembered the last time I had seen Daniel alive. We had been talking about future plans. Nothing serious, just jokes. But I now remembered the way he had paused mid-sentence, glanced over his shoulder, almost like he had seen something I hadn't. I shook my head. It was nothing. I knocked on Mark's door. He opened immediately, as if expecting me. Calm. Too calm. "Hey," he said. "What are you doing here?" I said nothing, just stared. "I know," I whispered. He tilted his head. "Know what?" I pulled out my phone. That it wasn't suicide. He gestured for me to enter. "Come in." The apartment smelled like stale coffee and old wood. Sunlight barely touched the floor, muted behind gray curtains. He moved around the kitchen with ease, poured a glass of water, and sat down like we were having a casual conversation, not the confrontation I had imagined for nights on end. I felt my stomach knot. My hands trembled. Finally, I said it. "You were with Daniel that night." Mark nodded slowly. "Yeah, at the stairwell." Another nod. "Why?" He looked at me, calm, almost bored. "Because he was going to tell, about the money." I frowned. "Money," he sighed. "We had a system, small transfers, accounts that didn't exist. Daniel wanted out. He was going to confess." I felt bile rise in my throat. "You killed him." He didn't deny it, just smiled faintly. He was standing near the railing. I just helped. My chest tightened. The room felt colder. Shadows stretched, crawling along the floor. My phone buzzed. One last message from Daniel. Leave. I looked up. Mark was standing now, calm, observing me. You've been acting strange, he said. And now you're here accusing me, looking for answers? I swallowed hard. I need to know why. He took a step closer. Loose ends are dangerous, he said quietly. I realized then that I had been dragged into something I couldn't escape. My mind raced. Memories of Daniel's laughter, his warnings, his quiet moments, every laugh, every hesitation. They felt like echoes now, ringing in my ears. I felt a sudden, horrifying clarity. Everything had led me here. Every small detail, every memory, every hesitation was part of it. Mark was in front of me now, calm, terrifying. And then, as if rehearsed, the final movement came. Everything went dark.